Hi, my name's Nick Lloyd and I do Spanish Civil War tours in Barcelona, and this is the fourth in a series of videos doing about different stories connected to the war. And today I want to talk about this famous photograph here by Agustí Centelles, and it shows the aftermath of the defeat of the coup in Plaça Catalunya in Barcelona on the 19th of July 1936. But before, a little bit of background before we get onto that. And the coup actually begins on the 17th of July 1936 down in Spanish colonial Morocco, and it spreads chaotically on the 18th of July to southern Spain. Word reaches Barcelona. It's the 18th of July. It was Saturday morning, and it was extremely hot. In fact, it was the hottest day of the year. We're also in a city surrounded by barracks, 8,000 troops in the city, presumably prepared for something, as they were in every city in Spain. You know, local military authorities being prepared to overthrow the local civilian authorities in a coordinated attack on the democratic state. So word reaches Barcelona about the coup, and the workers do everything they can to try to get hold of as many weapons as they can. They already had quite a few, which they start unearthing from underneath their floorboards. You know, it was the 1930s. People did have weapons then. A lot of it was stock sold after the First World War from France, pistols and things, small arms. And they do everything, they up the ante. So they raid all the arms shops in the city. They raid 2 boats in the city, in the harbour, and get hold of several hundred weapons like that. Then they go to the Catalan government and demand arms, they say, to save the city. But the Catalan government was from its perspective at least, was in a difficult position. It was afraid of the fascist coup, which it knows is coming from the one side, but it's also afraid from the other side of these angry anarchist revolutionaries, or Barcelona's militant working class, and what they might do with these weapons, and they say no. But as dramatic news starts to come in from the south of Spain about the progress of the coup, some sympathetic Republican army officers open up an arsenal to the workers. The workers had some weapons. Have they had enough? We'll see. And separately, the Catalan government, which is a liberal social democratic government in effect, under Esquerra Republicana, ERC, which is today the largest party effectively in Catalonia at the moment, they also do everything they can as well by organising its police. So there's 2 distinct plans being organised to stop the coup in Barcelona. One by the government through its police, perhaps 1,000, and 2, perhaps above all, by the workers, strange allies. I don't suppose that many people slept that night. Extremely hot. Everyone knows what's going to happen. And feverish atmosphere in the working class districts. And finally, 4:30 in Sunday morning, the temperatures have dropped now. The military wake up the conscripts in the barracks, and they tell them you come into the centre of Barcelona to crush a supposed anarchist revolt. But as soon as they make their way at the barracks, people see what's happening, and at 5 o'clock on Sunday morning, the trade unions, that's the C&T, but also the anarchist C&T, but also the socialist UGT, set off all the factory sirens in the city, a prearranged signal, a call to arms to the people to rush the streets to stop the coup. And meanwhile, separately, the Catalan government sends out its police, and so the military are immediately attacked by groups of workers, groups of police, and I guess uniquely, often together. Strange allies. And this brings us on to this photograph here, which we can see from the French front cover, the 1st of August. So this is a week or so later. L'Illustration, a right-wing photo magazine, illustrated magazine, but excellent quality usually. So if we look inside the magazine, there's a number of pages about the start of the war. These 2 pertain to, on the right here, we have Madrid. Those are images from Madrid, and on the left of the page it's Barcelona, different images. I think those are mainly taken by Centelles, open to correction there, but I think they are the ones in Barcelona. And this photograph is taken on the evening of the 19th of July in Plaça Catalunya. What happens is the military tried to take the key places in the city, one of which is Plaça Catalunya, and here they're confronted partially by workers, but above all actually here by the police. So in other areas where I am now, for example in Poble Sec, it was principally the anarchist CNT who resisted the military. And we'll hopefully do a talk about that another time. But in Plaça Catalunya it was principally the police with the help of some workers. So the police officer you can see in the centre left, that's an assault guard. They were the police who fought against the military in Barcelona at the start on that first Sunday. To the right in the background you can see the civil guard. They came in later on in the afternoon, and surprisingly or not, they decided to stay loyal to the Republic. And the military ended up entrenched in two buildings by the early afternoon. The telephone exchange, as you can see here from this anarchist children's trading card, famously described later by George Orwell in Homage Catalunya for its role in the May Days. And then on the other side of the square, the famous Colon Hotel, which was later taken over by the Communist Party, and the military ended up entrenched in these two buildings and then forced to surrender here. And going back to this photograph, this one, and also there's another one which is, this is from the other side of the square. You can see that. This car is actually the same car, the car here and the car there. A friend of mine, Ricard Martinez, he does remarkable work with rephotographing and other things. He also does tours, excellent tours on photographers of the Spanish Civil War, and he's told me a few things about this which I didn't realise. Well, first of all, it's taken by Agustí Centelles, great Catalan photojournalist, often described as the Spanish Robert Capa, which I think is always a bit unfair really, because to be honest, he was as good a photographer as Capa in his own right, and a better photographer than Capa at the time in July 1936, because Capa was very young. One of the great European photojournalists undoubtedly. And what Ricard pointed out to me is that, well, first of all, Centelles leaves his home in the morning of the 19th of July 1936 to document the fighting, and he travels around the city documenting what's happening, and he arrives in Plaça Catalunya in the evening, early evening. The car estimates it's about 6 o'clock, I think, by the shadow rather, in this car, under the car here, and under you can see this police officer there with a shadow. I don't know if you can make that out. He also suspects that these are probably two civilians who've probably been executed by the military early in the morning before they lost the square. These are mules, you can see with their pointy ears. They would have been used to pull the artillery into the square. And something I always point is the pigeons, because if you go to the Plaça Catalunya today, it's full of pigeons, always full of pigeons. And I used to sort of joke that these pigeons are the ancestors of the same pigeons flying around now. But actually someone else recently pointed out to me that cats and pigeons were extinct in Barcelona by 1939. You know, what do you eat in a situation of war? And just a couple of other images we've got of this square. So the Colon Hotel was, as you can see, taken over there by the pro-Soviet Communist Party, as also George Orwell famously describes. So here we've got a group, I think it's in late 37, these guys with around the white shirt on rather. These are Danish volunteers. The estimate is about 500 Danes fought for the Republic. And then another one, which is just round the corner from, in the same square, just a few metres away from that photograph, is this one. And a bit later, next year, 1938, I think also March, and these are Germans. The estimate is 3,000 or above 3,000 anti-Nazi Germans fought for the Spanish Republic. And then we've got this card, which is in Spanish and Catalan, of Plaça Catalunya. It's in early 1930s. This is from the Colón Hotel, which became the Communist Party headquarters, looking down onto the square. But this was actually sent from Barcelona in 1939 by an Italian, in February 1939, by an Italian to Turin. So we're able to assume that this is sent by an Italian fascist back home. Anyway, Centelles himself, he's one of the most important photographers of the war, undoubtedly. He then goes into exile, ends up in a French internment camp called Bram, under terrible conditions. He takes with him most of his work, his negatives, which he then manages to get out of the camp, and he leaves with a French family. And this, to cut a very long story short, in the late 1970s he returns to the family and recovers his collection, which is then brought back to Spain, and he ended up selling it actually to the Spanish state, and now belongs, possibly to the Reina Sofia, I'm not sure, but it's belongs to the public now. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much. And that was the fourth talk, and hopefully there'll be another one soon. Thank you.